So I just see the Mario Galaxy movie not too long ago, and it was alright. I mean, like, I had fun with the movie, but in terms of story, it really wasn't that great. I was kind of complaining to my friend that they really should focus more on the story, but then he told me this thing. It's a Mario game, but as a movie. So what'd you expect? And that kind of stuck with me. Yeah, I know Mario games don't have the most depth, but that doesn't mean the movies don't need to. And I'm not asking for something with Godfather level of complexity. I'm just saying, like, something decent, you know? But then that also drove me deeper into my thought. Why don't Mario games even have a story? And it's not like it can't be done, as Nintendo has done pretty insane and deep stories for some of their games. And heck, even Nintendo's rival Sega has their mascot with pretty insane lore and stories too. So how come the main man doesn't even get that same treatment? Now, the easy answer is obviously because he's a brand, right? I mean, that's probably the most, like, thought out reason. It's the brand and they don't want to ruin the image and yada yada yada. And I can understand that, even though that's really something that really bothers me. But what could you really do with Mario? Let's be honest. There isn't really too much that you could really do with Mario. It's not like you can have a God of War Ragnarok kind of story, or like something from Red Dead Redemption 2. This has got to be something that's, while family friendly, something that is kind of just something to latch onto. So what could realistically work for a Mario story? So if we're talking about story as in like an overarching plot, I don't really think something deep is going to work for Mario. Look, as cool as it would be, Mario isn't exactly a series that's known for its depth, at least in terms of its story. So what could realistically I see happening is 3 things. Subtle world building, character development, and just, lore, I guess. But I guess that would fall into subtle story, whatever. So I don't think that mainline Mario games could get away with having such a complex story, as they're more marketed to the mass audience, while games like Mario and Luigi and like Paper Mario and stuff can have extremely great stories because they're for the fans more than they're for the casuals, you know? And I'm not saying that casuals need to be fed like slop, you know? I'm just saying that that's realistically the path I see going down, if there were to be more investment into the Mario lore, which I don't see happening anytime soon, because Nintendo's more of a game focus and not a story focus. But there's still stuff to work with, so let's try and figure out what that could be. One of the biggest things is probably character development, and that's probably the most obvious too. Mario, sure, I don't really see Mario having a character arc in a sense. He's kind of a static character in the same way Son Goku and Sonic are. But what about the rest of the cast? I mean, Luigi's literally a prime example for someone who could have a great character arc, learning to not be afraid and trust more on himself more than his brother. Kind of like Tails from Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. That's really the most realistic way I can see Luigi's character going. But then you start thinking a little more about like characters like Bowser and Peach, and there isn't really too much you can do, because in the games they don't really have too many characteristics. Though I haven't really played every single Mario spin-off, so I'm sure with Bowser, you can do something to make him like a lot more likable than he already is. Or he could go into a path that just makes him an irredeemable monster. I mean, both would work for his character. I mean, heck, you can even make it something to where he and Bowser Jr. have to do something as a father duo son. That'd be something that's pretty neat. For the world building aspect of this, I could totally see it happening. I mean, Mario and the gang go all over the globe, so... Mario and the gang pretty much go everywhere, so why wouldn't there be any subtle world building? I mean, there already is. You have the Petal Isles from Mario Wonder, you have Sarasa Land. I mean, heck, you even have the Mushroom Kingdom itself. Having, like, adventures to where you're able to, like, see the culture and how the Toads and the natives work, while also having to fend off the threats of Goombas and stuff, would be kind of interesting to see. And you could like see how like Toad society kind of functions, or how whatever works, you know? Just like kind of an interesting thought. I think also the lore could be kind of crazy for Mario, but will that ever happen?
No.
So Mario could have some pretty interesting lore. I mean, like, who's like the former leader of the kingdoms, or who is the one that found out the superstar, or whatever, you know? But I just don't really see that happening. I mean, Nintendo isn't already good enough with the lore itself. I mean, what is going on with Pauline and Donkey Kong Bonanza? That's just something that I don't even think any theorist wants to touch. But it could be kind of interesting, just seeing like the Mushroom Kingdoms of days past or something like that. Kind of like in Tears in the Kingdom. So, where could we see a Mario story realistically? That's a really good question. I know that the RPGs exist, but the RPGs are kind of their own can of worms, and they're more of like the backdrop of whatever Nintendo's doing while they focus on their big thing. I mean, heck, they outsource a lot of the Mario and Luigi games to other studios. So, I don't really know if that even applies to the actual Nintendo lore, or the actual Mario lore, for that matter. So, how could this be? I could see it going three ways. Either the RPG games, which there kind of already is happening, but it is kind of to a lesser extent now. I could also see them doing a TV series. Mario is pretty successful on the big screen, so why not even on the little screen? Having like a Mario show where they go from place to place solving the problems and finding out more about the Mushroom Kingdom, that would be pretty neat. Even if it is in the movie universe, it could at least help us get a little more insight into what goes on in the game universe. Though not everything would be one-to-one, as we obviously know. And another, even less likely option would be comics. Comics offer quite an interesting position for these things because you can have a lot more freedom with what you do in comics rather than games. Though I'm not too sure how Nintendo would be about it. I remember way back when I heard about there being Mario Archie comics, which would have been awesome. And it would have been written by Ian Flynn and drawn by Tracy Yardley. It pretty much would have been more like the Mega Man comics more than the Archie Sonic comics, which, depending on who you ask, is a good or bad thing. But I don't know. Nintendo, from what I've heard, is like really strict about how they want their characters portrayed or how they want their world to be built. So it ended up kind of getting canned, which is a shame because it could have really helped out with trying to figure out like what's going on with Mario and stuff. But I think a lot of the stuff that happens in the Mega Man comics could be applied to Mario to make it work. Not saying a direct one-to-one like transition would be fit for Mario, but I'm saying like adapting some of the game stories and then just adding like a little more depth to them would have been pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know, do you think a Mario story could work, and how would you want it to work? Well, see ya.